Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and today is a very exciting day. Two things have happened in the world of Marvel that are worth talking about, both of course tied to the big movie that is coming out. The first Avengers Doomsday trailer has dropped. So this video is going to be my initial kind of thoughts, reaction, feelings on it. And then I'm recording this Monday morning. We're recording podcast tonight. So we're going to be talking about that. If you want to hear both Greg and my thoughts, more kind of digging into the details, that's going to be your opportunity for that. This is more that first reaction, first impression sort of thing. The other thing is Avengers Doomsday tickets are now out and available to buy, in particular in the Infinity Vision format. Now, I don't believe it is every format available yet, but Marvel and Disney, this is really a Disney thing, they're rolling out. I'm not going to say it's a competitor to IMAX, but it's meant to be something that is kind of that tick up from your normal movie going experience. I believe it's something that they're doing in Dolby theaters. So if you're interested, it is your chance to get it. I just waited about 15 minutes in queue for AMC, and it's about sold out at this point. Now, I didn't look at all the time slots. I knew that I wanted an evening time slot, so I got the 8 o'clock time slot for it. And they can only do about 3 showings in a day because this is going to be a 2 hour and 45-minute movie. But I was able to get tickets. There weren't that many left. So you might have to search a little bit at this point or go to a further out showing as those become available, or a showing in a different format. Now, it is worth knowing some of the reason why they're pulling out this Infinity Vision kind of, I'm not going to call it a gimmick, but the thing is that all the IMAX is going to be the Dune movie. So we're not going to get Avengers Doomsday in IMAX because there's only so many of those theaters out there. But let's move on and let's talk about the trailer. I'm not going to say spoilers or anything like that because if you're watching this video, you're curious about thoughts on the trailer. This is a fun trailer. First off, it kicks off with narration by RDJ, Robert Downey Jr., as Doctor Doom. We get to hear the accent and voice that he's doing. We get to see looks at him throughout the trailer, and he looks real good in that role. The accent is very solid as well. And then the rest of the trailer is actually fairly similar to what we got from at least for the dialogue, very similar to what we got from the Thor teaser trailer that came out in January. It's very focused on this is the biggest threat that we have seen. So while there's not a ton new in terms of dialogue, we definitely have new footage. We get really those focuses on all the different groups that we saw from those teaser trailers that came out with Avatar, Earth, Wind, and Fire. I don't remember what it's called. The latest Blue Alien movie, Dances with Smurfs. Whatever you want to call it. And I mean, the footage is good. It's good to see more of the Fantastic Four. We get to see more of who is meeting with the group in Wakanda or near Namor's now above ground castle and throne room. And we get to see more Namor. We get to see more of the Fantastic Four. Kind of one of the highlights, a couple of the highlights in there, we see Mystique, and Mystique shifts to look like Yelena. So we're going to have a Yelena versus Yelena fight. That's going to be fun. And we get to see some Gambit in there. Gambit still being played by Channing Tatum here. Now, this does not mean that Channing Tatum's going to be playing Gambit going forward, but getting to see just a little bit of a fight between Gambit and Shang-Chi. So definitely some sort of introduction to these characters here. And yeah, I'm very excited for what we saw. Now, the downside is, if you're familiar with the short little trailers that Marvel did, which I think some people are, but they definitely flew a little bit more under the radar because there wasn't a ton to them. This is going to feel similar to what you already saw. And I don't look at that as a bad thing. I still expect we're going to get some sort of maybe new trailer, extended trailer, something at San Diego Comic-Con that they're going to show that's new. But with this trailer drop now, that might be something that they don't release to the public until after D23. Now, that's only just a couple weeks after San Diego Comic-Con, but I could see them doing a kind of a release schedule like that, and maybe a new Avengers Endgame trailer, since that movie's going to be coming out relatively shortly after D23. And I'm cool with the fact that it didn't show much more. I'm cool with the fact that we just got to see some Doom. That was great. Loved that. And that we got to then have those extra action sequences. The big thing is kind of the reintroduction of Steve Rogers, where Thor sees him as like, is this a trick? And I really liked that. The other thing that I hadn't mentioned yet, but I liked, was we got our first look at Loki. Loki wearing a TVA uniform, so doesn't seem to be sitting at the end of time where he left him in Loki 2. I wonder what's going on with that. But maybe he just doesn't have to, because Doom has been so aggressively pruning timelines, or something's been happening to cause kind of the end of the multiverse, that he doesn't have to hold it together anymore. Instead, he has to start to go and look for what's happening. That could kind of be my guess as to why he is in the TVA uniform. But it's good to see Loki in there. The rumors have said that Loki's not going to be a major part of this movie, and I kind of think that makes sense. Loki feels like he should maybe be more of a linchpin character who's more of a major part of the Secret Wars movie, taking over possibly that Molecule Man sort of role, potentially. Something like that. Somebody that Doom wants for some reason. But that's just kind of my initial thoughts, first reaction to the Doomsday trailer. It's good. It's fun. It has me excited for it. I'm glad that it hasn't shown that much for it. And like I said, tickets are selling fast. Obviously, this is a fairly limited initial ticket launch because only the Infinity Vision tickets. But even with that, I'm going to be curious. I don't know that there'll be a number by podcast time tonight, but by the following week's podcast, what sort of numbers we're looking at for pre-sales on these tickets. Because tickets aren't cheap. It was about, with fees and stuff like that, it was $25 a ticket. That ain't cheap. But you think about it, okay, 4 showings, 200, so 200 seats, 250 seats, let's say. 100 times 100, $10,000 a showing. Just my one AMC, 3 showings, $30,000. You start to do the math, and it's gonna get big fast, because this is just one AMC in Minneapolis, St. Paul. If all the rest are kind of going the same way, then yeah, this could be a really big number, and I'm excited to see what that number is going to be, because Marvel's not dead. There's been some hiccups along the way, for sure. This movie, and I think the Spider-Man Brand New Day, oh yes it is, are going to do really good numbers. With that, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What did you think of the Avengers Doomsday trailer? And check out the 10-Minute Marvel podcast. I've already mentioned it a few times. We're going to be talking about this trailer coming up later tonight. Podcast will come out. So to find that podcast, click onto the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we appreciate everybody who has. And then click on the podcast tab, or you can search for 10-Minute Marvel wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcasts from. But with that, we'll see you next time.